Yes, welcome to today's weekly outlook. So, as usual, we were going to start with gold, and then from there we can now go into other pairs, and then we try to analyze and then understand how they look like, and see whether we have potential trading opportunities. So, like before, we go to let's start from the weekly because we have our weekly candle closing. So, this is the all-time weekly resistance, which we can clearly see here. The market actually failed to break past it. So we had a fake out. We had a scenario whereby price had faked out here and then broke back inside. So coming, this is our weekly lows. These are the lows we have, the obvious lows. And then these are the lows here. But then it is important to study actually this week, which has just closed. So we had a candle trying to break above this level and then breaks back inside. And now we have this as our weekly high, and then that will be our weekly high. And then this is our weekly low. So from this whole big scenario here, we see there's a possibility of price actually trending to the downside. Because we have a resistance, which the market has failed to break, and then a weekly candle with wick. So when we look at the daily, this is how it looks like. So there's that possibility with this bearish engulfing that the market would actually begin to trend to the downside. Yes, unless this weekly high is taken out. So, but as per now, because of this bearish closing, there's a possibility that this could actually head downwards. Yeah, but there's more to see on this resistance here. All right, so that is it on gold. So let's just go to another pair. USD is actually looking good. So let's look at the Usdcad. So on Usdcad again, we have these weekly levels. So we've been having this whole scenario whereby this was our high time resistance, where we had price breaking out and then breaks back inside, failing to break this resistance, and then we are seeing price headed downwards to these support areas here. And then we see this area, this was an area of weekly break, and then market retested it and pulled down, and then we have another weekly break here. So when we come to the daily, these are areas we have. So just as this was our resistance and the market played out here and then pushed down. So we are targeting these lows. But then we had an area of pullback here. Market pulled back into this area. And then now we see another break of structure. So we could actually have another pullback into this to be able to retest this and continue to sell. So USD CAD is looking as simple as that. The dollar, the CAD is looking actually strong. And if you look at it, all other pairs, it's the same scenario. So with that being said, we can now move into another pair. So these are some of the good pairs which are looking attractive to be traded. So let's go into another CAD pair, which is actually looking good to be traded also, and that is CAD Swiss. So with CAD Swiss, when we look at it from the weekly time frame, you realize this was our all-time low. So this is what price is actually doing. We have this low, this all-time low. You have the lows and then price push up, the lows and then price push up, and now we have this low. This was the low. So this was, so let me remove that. So this was our all-time low, whereby the market has now broken above this, and then there's a possibility of the market going to be able to push up. So when we come to the daily, we see we had our support area down here, which the market has actually also failed to break. Okay, so this support here, market has actually failed to break it. And now we see this resistance areas being broken. So the market has been consolidating for a while, and now it has broken out of these areas here. So there's a possibility for us to be able to actually buy this all the way up to this high here. And then if this high is broken, we could actually move up to there. So this is what we have on CAD Swiss. These are some of the few trades we have with some good trading opportunities. So once we've looked at two CAD pairs and then the gold, we can now move into another pair, which is actually looking good. And that will be the JPY. So let's look at the JPYs. So on the JPYs, let's look at Gbpjpy and see whether we can actually have a trading opportunity this week or it will actually be for next week. So Gbpjpy, this is what we have on the weekly. So we had areas of resistance here, and then we see the market actually breaking back into this region, and then we have these lows here, and we have these lows here on the weekly, which is our support. The same thing, this was our resistance, and then this is where we had the area of breakout. And then when we come to the daily, we realize that this was our high, which was our resistance area, and the market seemed to have broken out the same pattern, fake out, and then breaks back inside. So right now, we have another area of break here. So these are the areas we shall be looking at on Gbpjpy. We have market coming into this support area and then or this resistance area. So it's nearing these two levels, which is support and then our resistance here. So we're actually waiting for more opportunities to be able to trade this. So these are the areas we have support and then resistance, keeping it as simple as that. So we can add in one more JPY pair before we can finish on the JPY so that we can see how correlative these ones are. So let's go to Eurjpy. So on Eurjpy, this is what we have. We have, this was our high, which was broken into, and then this is how the market broke here, forming new lows, took away this low to this low, and then on this we have this low here, which act as the previous resistance, or you had a resistance which was broken. Now the resistance has become support, and then we also have another area of support here on the weekly, with this being our weekly high, which will act as our resistance area. So the moment we have that, when we come to the daily time frame, this is what we have on the daily. So on the daily, we have a scenario whereby we have support here, and then we have resistance here with this structural break here, which is also another resistance area. So when you compare UJ, then Gbpjpy, you will see how they look like. So they are all, price is about to come to support after leaving a resistance. So they are looking similar. So you want to watch out for these pairs and then be able to trade them accordingly. So finally, let's look at the dollar index and try to understand how the dollar is looking. But with the way we analyze Usdcad, you realize the dollar is actually weak. So let's see, it's a little bit weak compared to the CAD. But let's see the DXY in general, how it is behaving, whether the dollar is strong or the dollar is weak. So with the DXY on the weekly, this is what we have, the weekly. So we have an area of support here, which the market has not yet reached into. And then we have an area of structural break here. And then we have our resistance here, which is our weekly highs. Now that we have another structural break here in the weekly. So the dollar is looking actually strong on the DXY here. So this is what we have. These are the levels we have. So there is a possibility that actually the DXY, the DXY is actually trending to the downside, meaning the dollar is definitely weak. Yeah, if it is bullish, then the dollar is actually strong. So, but right now we have a possible retest of this for price to be able to continue to downward, because these are weekly highs that we have. So with this being said, we can clearly conclude that there is a possibility for price to come and retest, come here, retest, and then possibly head back down to this support area or comes back to this resistance and then possibly head back down. So these are the possible scenarios we have, and this is how we want to trade this week. So it's also important for you to look at the fundamentals for next week. That is from Monday and stuff like that. So on Monday, we don't have much. That will be on 17th. 18th. We don't have much. And then on Tuesday, that's when we have the JPY monetary policy statement. So you just need to be on alert because this can tend to move the market. And then on that same day, we will have the card CPI. That will be later on in the afternoon. And then on Wednesday, we have the Gbpjpy yearly CPI. And then with the consumer confidence later in the evening. And then on Thursday, we have the GDP for USD and then unemployment claims. Friday, we finish up with retail sales and then card GDP. And then finally, the revised consumer sentiment. And that will be the week. So you need to look at the fundamentals and then position yourself on the technical and then apply proper risk management. And then you can actually be able to be consistent eventually. Otherwise, thank you. Have a good day.